all, and welcome to another adventure. Again, this one's a little bit different. I feel like everything's been a little bit different lately, but I like trying new things. So, probably wondering why a travel blogger is talking about pollinator gardening. Well, the answer is that we all produce carbon emissions, especially if you travel. Just driving, flights, even trains produces carbon emissions. So I want to do what I can to offset it in my own way, in addition to any paying for carbon offsets or, recycling and all that. So to do that, I garden, particularly pollinator garden. I'm working on creating a beautiful landscape. It is definitely a work in progress, but I love it. I'm definitely not an expert in any way, but I wanted to share what I know. And pollinators need all of our help. So let's get into how to help them. If you already have a pollinator garden going, this is your reminder to plant those early spring bulbs that need to winter a bit, and it's getting close, so go ahead and start those seeds, especially the ones that can be started indoors with a grow light. I'm posting this in winter so that anyone who's new to pollinator gardening has time to do research and figure out the best kind of gardening and planting for them. All right, so step one for new gardeners at all, especially pollinator gardeners, is figure out the space you have available for gardening. This can be anything from window boxes to just container gardens on patios. It could be, your backyard. Can you put in a edging? Do you have space for vertical gardens where you could put in trellises to grow stuff up? Even big things like arches. But figure out the space you have available, because this will determine what kind of plants will do best in those spaces. After you figure out what kind of space you have available to garden, look at what kind of sun it gets. Does it get full sun, part shade, or full shade? This will determine the type of plants that you can put in that space. All right, so step two is research. And I say this to be as economical as possible for you and to plant what is best for the local pollinators, because there are definitely local ones depending on where you're at. And the internet has a lot of great information. It's wonderful, but it can get overwhelming and sometimes you don't know where to start. So where I do suggest starting is with the library, with books. This is a book that I picked up. It's not perfect, especially for local plants for my region, but it does give good overall tips. So start with the library. They're good for a lot of things, including possibly seed libraries, which I'll talk more about in a minute, but also finding local gardening groups. So more on those local gardening groups. Some of the ones I have taken classes with are Master Gardeners, the Arbor Society, and the Native Plant Society. Yes, if you have space, trees are great for pollinators. So just a heads up there. And a lot of these groups put on free gardening classes. And these classes are great, and a lot of them have to do with native plants and pollinators, in addition to herbs and starting stuff from seeds and other propagation. So gardening classes are wonderful. If those resources are not available to you, I would also talk to your local plant nurseries. Yes, you can talk to the big box stores, but the local nurseries can get certified and stuff with these gardening groups to be, they have the right information and they sell the right plants and they can tell you how to grow them that are best for your area and for pollinators. So while you're doing your research, here's some of the stuff you want to look for. You want plants that are pollinator friendly. You want plants that are good for your style of gardening and the type of light that you need. So if you've got an area that gets full shade, and you get a lot of rain, you can't plant lavender in a container garden. It's gonna die, trust me. I've killed plenty of lavender by not putting it in enough sun and by overwatering it. So it just, keep an eye on stuff like that. You also want plants that are native or at least well adapted to your climate. And this is just so that they can survive it. If you're in a really dry area, more desert plants. If you're in a wetter area, you want stuff that doesn't, like rosemary and lavender where the roots are, they're just really sensitive to excess moisture. Let's just say that. So do your research. And I hope these resources help you. I will also list them in the description below. All right, step 3 to your beginning pollinator garden is once you figured out what you can plant, what works best for your style and your water and your sun, it's time to make a decision of what to actually plant. So you probably have a list and then their requirements. So here's some things to consider. Seeds are typically cheaper. Sometimes libraries even have seed libraries. Like I got these from the local library. I've got lemon mint, bluebonnets, and black-eyed Susan. But sometimes things can be difficult to grow from seed. Like I have been told that the bluebonnets can be a bit difficult. Milkweed, if you're planting for monarchs, can also be very difficult to plant from seed. But seeds are fairly inexpensive. They can just be difficult. They also need to be started earlier a lot of the times, especially if you're vegetable gardening. So just be aware of that. Young plants are more expensive if you choose to go that route, but they typically are hardier and they will bloom sooner because they are more mature when you plant them. Just make sure to plant them in the right type of soil, sun, all that fun stuff. All right, step 4 is just get to gardening. Once you figure out your plants, your space, your water, just go for it. I do suggest keeping notes, when you watered, what grew well, what didn't, any issues that you had, that way you can go research them later. If you do have questions, if you don't know what to do, there are plenty of forums out there. There's Reddit. There's most of these gardening groups that I talked about have a support email or phone even. So just try it out. If you have the space and the space in your garden and the budget, I do suggest adding a couple other things. One would be water for pollinators, just shallow bowl with marbles so they have something to stand on. And I also suggest, bug houses, something like this for bees that don't live in hives, such as carpenter bees, or leafcutter bees, mason bees, stuff like that. Or you can even do butterfly houses. And there's a ton of different stuff you can do. I really hope that these tips were helpful for you. There is a ton more to learn about pollinator gardening that even I'm still learning, such as planting for different seasons and planting for different life cycle stages of the insect. There's a lot more out there to learn, but we all have to start somewhere. So this is a very basic introduction, and I really hope it helps you guys. I'm going to link some additional pollinator garden videos in the description, some that have helped me. And go out, garden. If you guys like this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time, either in the garden or on an adventure. So have a good day and happy gardening.